Okay, with Access module number 3, in number 1 we created a database, and number 2 we learned about queries. Now in number 3, over time we're constantly going to be maintaining the database. These are things such as updating the data, adding, deleting records, adding records, modifying the data. We will be doing something like Excel and filtering. This is sort of like a query. Maybe I only want to look at colleges near the beach or under a certain price range or whatever my criteria are. If we were going to run this on a regular basis, we would do a query, but a filter is a temporary way, just like in Excel. We may want to change the structure of the database, add new fields, create lookup fields and calculated fields. Maybe we'll put in not just the price per year, but the price per quarter or something like that. Then we have mass changes. Maybe we want to update the price at all the products on our store. We're going to update by 3%. So that's called an update query. And then validation rules. Maybe we say nobody's pay rate is less than minimum wage, or nobody earns an hourly rate over whatever we determine the maximum to be. We can put ranges, we can put default values. So there's lots of things we can do to try to make sure we get as good and clean a data as possible. So these are some of the things we're going to be doing. Changing the appearance of the data sheet. We could add totals or remove totals, changing colors and fonts and all kinds of cool stuff. So these are the things we're going to get into in this chapter 3. Let's jump right into Access. So this is a colleges table that I have from the last 2 weeks. As you can see, I have 18 records here. Every row is a record. Every column is in fact, I'm going to delete this whole column right now. I want to get rid of a column, cost per quarter. I just delete it. If I want to get rid of a field, that's how you do. You go into Design View. Now I'm back in Datasheet View. I have state, tuition, is it near the beach? So if I want to add more data, I can simply come down here and I can put, let's say, which one do I not have? Cal State Fullerton. I have that already. Maybe I want University of Minnesota. Minnesota. That's the right spelling? Of course not. Minneapolis. Minnesota. MN. And so on. So I could just add data that way, and that's one way of adding data. Let's say $12,000. Near beach? Nope. On campus housing? Yes. Maybe it costs $15,000 a year. Ooh, $150,000 a year. So that's probably a mistake I would want to take out and put a validation rule in that it's not allowed. So that's one way of entering data. And of course, I can go to my form. I could come here and enter a new record. I'm at San Diego State. And if I want to go to the end of my form, I can come down here. The last one, University of Minnesota. Okay, so I can add data by going right to the table, or I can add data by going to a form. By the same token, I can edit the data either way. Now that is not Minnesota, that is Minnesota. So I can edit the data here, or I can edit the data in the form. I can come here and make all the changes I want. So editing data is pretty straightforward. What we want to look at is some of the things like how would I now let's say filter the data. I'm going to come to colleges, and let's say I only want to see the colleges that are in California or are not in California. This is very much like Excel. I could just come in the field I want, and even from my home button, here's the filter. It looks exactly like Excel. And I could say, select all. No, I only want those in California. Great. Or turn that off. Click the filter button, and then clear that filter. And then if I only wanted ones that were not in California, or maybe in tuition, I only want those less than $20,000. So there's things I can do like that. I can sort my data. Basically, it's exactly like Excel. Okay, now what I want to do is, let's say I want to add a new field. Maybe I know what it costs per year, and most of us can divide by 2 and pretty quickly see what it would be per semester. But maybe you want to see what would that be per quarter. For instance, UCSD and the others are on a quarter basis. Every 10 weeks is a semester quarter with a 1-week final. So they'll have 33 weeks if you have a fall, a winter, and a spring semester. Anyway, so if I want to say, let's put a field in, a brand new field that shows price per quarter so somebody can do the math on that. Well, now I'm going to close my form. I'm going to get into my colleges, but I will go to Design View. So let's do this one. I want to add a brand new field, and I'm going to call it cost per quarter. Probably a better term would be tuition per quarter, because cost is a little different. So here what we're saying, I'm going to do what's called a calculated field. Cost per quarter, okay. So how do I do that? There's this expression builder. I don't use that very often, but just down here in the expression, you can use the expression builder. That if you hit this button over here, it'll come up. Or I can just type in what it is, tuition. And that's divided by, in this case, 3. So instead of tuition for the year, I'll have tuition divided by 3. Now I come back here and look at this. Cost per quarter. So some pretty big numbers. So I better go back to my design view. And one of the things I forgot about, that's the expression. What's the format I want? I want that to display as a currency field. Number, currency, and a number of decimal places. I'm not going to care about pennies. So my decimal places, I'll just press 0. So this takes obviously a little time to get very familiar with it. I can even put a caption here. Cost per quarter. No, I'll call it quarterly cost if that's what I want to do. I can override the field name. I won't do it now, but that's what caption is all about. Great. So now when I look at it, save the table, and now my cost per quarter, so San Diego State that was $7,500 a year is $2,500 per quarter. That might make it easier to do the math on that. I need to go back for just 1 quarter. Well, what does that cost? Anyway, that was how to add a field. I have a brand new field here, and if I say, I might as well put that right under tuition, well, I can do that. I grab it, and I can just move it. Now, tuition, cost per quarter. Now I have my tuition and my cost per quarter. So this is the kind of thing you can do in maintaining a database. I added a brand new field that was called a calculated field. And here is where I can do things like, this pretty much is pretty good size-wise, but I don't need this much space for this one. So maybe I'll come in here and change that a little bit. I'd like to see that it shows ID. College name, I can change that here, but let's say I really wanted to have more space. Like state, I can do this kind of thing here with just the physical display. But if I really wanted to have more space to put data, that's where I would come back to design view. And something like college name. Well, I have that as a short text field of 40, which is probably plenty. But if I needed more or less, that's where I would change that. So almost everything we do is in what's called design view for making modifications. Let's go into what we call validation rules. I'm going to go back to my design view here. And what I want to do here is, let's, for example, the number of students. Well, right now I can put as many students as I want in here, and I can make a mistake like I showed earlier. Well, maybe I'll say for the number of students, here we're going to look at validation rules and validation text. Validation rule, I'll say must be less than, 51,000. The largest college I know is Ohio State, which had 50,000. And I may have a message if I violate that rule. For example, this is too many students. Or if I was doing payroll and I put, maybe I put a cap, nobody makes more than $100 an hour. So somebody I was putting in, I meant to put $15 an hour, but I typed 1500, and I'm putting $1,500 an hour. Well, I would probably want a validation rule in any payroll system not allowing a number over what I think is the most. Okay, so that's what a validation rule. Then there's default values. For example, under state, I probably would put a default of California. But that's what a validation text is. Now when I come here, say the table, so in the number of students we have here, I don't have any that have over 50,000. But if I said maybe University of Minnesota, I didn't realize it was really a lot. So I'm trying to put 15,000, but I accidentally put 150,000 and I press enter. Then it comes up with that message. This is too many students. Oh, okay, that prompts me that I am making a mistake. Oh, you're right, it's only 15,000 students. So that's an example of a validation rule. Let's go just quickly to the default. So state, I have already put in a default of California, so it automatically appears. And I actually put this little thing, it's a greater than sign in. What that does is it forces whatever I put in to go into uppercase. And the input mask is very cool. This is, for example, let's say a field is phone number. Well, all our phone numbers look the same shape-wise. They're all 10 digits. 3, then a dash, 3, then a dash, then 4 numbers. Other valid ones would be social security number, zip code, and you may have any kind of custom product ID or part ID or anything like that. Again, caption will override whatever the field is. I can make all this in Spanish if I wanted to. So state, I'll just call it estado. So now if I look at it, save it, now I live in the estado of whatever. So that's what you can do with Design View, and these are all the field properties. So that's a pretty good, I don't know, about a 12-minute introduction into some of the things you can do with Access, some of the designs you can do. There's much more like lookup fields and more calculated fields and things, but you can spend some time researching those. Okay, hope you enjoyed this start.